We have a couple of huge carob trees in front of our house. Initially, the reason I'm talking about this because it just seems to be like long part of our history. Um, we actually have film footage, 8 millimeter film footage of us going. It's like I remember seeing it years ago, um, and we're riding up our bikes and back and forth on the sidewalk, and the trees are in the background. There's three trees, and they're on stakes. They were on stakes. That's one of their insects. So that's when it. So there were three initially, and they were on stakes. So they're probably at this point. When I tell you this, they're probably approximately. They're at least 55 years old, and they could be closer to 60, more like 60 years old at this point. Some years ago, if I had to guess, maybe about 30 years ago, they cut one of the trees down. The one that's on the. There was like one, two, three, and so there was the one that's on the east side, the one in the middle, and the one on the west side. They left alone. I don't know the reasoning for the cutting down the one tree. Whether the city said it was sick or something, I don't know. I doubt that it was. I really don't think there was really anything wrong with that tree, but they had it cut down, and we still got the two remaining trees. They are gigantic. They're huge. The one thing about the city of Gardena is like they've over a period of time, in the more recent years, they've been cutting down trees, and then what they do is they take and stick little tiny stupid little trees that don't grow. They're lots of times they're deciduous, which means they lose their leaves during the during the winter, fall and winter. They don't have leaves, but because they actually put one out, out in front, and it's like it doesn't grow. It grows probably, in 5 years it'll grow like a half an inch or something like that. It's ridiculous. So and that's what they've been doing. Certain parts of the city and city strips and stuff like on Western and stuff, they replace the trees, but I know they're going to be very slow growing trees because they cut down a lot of wonderful, huge, mature trees that have probably been there for well over 50 years. But anyway, it's like part of the reason I'm talking about this is because back in 2018. I kind of got into a fight with the city. They were going to cut down the two remaining trees, and I think what really pissed me off more than anything was they didn't say anything to us. They didn't say, "Hey, we're thinking about cutting down your trees." There was no notice, no nothing, and then all of a sudden these fuckers are out there, and they were actually uh, they actually I noticed they had cut down some trees in the neighborhood, here and there. So it's like I was kind of savvy too. And one time I saw them out there. I didn't, it's like, oh, what are they doing out there? And then when they left, I noticed they had like marks on the trees. So I had to call the city and to find out what was going on. And they were going to cut down the trees because supposedly it's bringing up the sidewalk or something, And it's like so. I got the whole city involved. Apparently, it was like the talk at City Hall, I guess, for a while. I didn't realize it, but somebody said, "Oh, yeah, that's the woman that did that," So, and so, a bunch of guys came out at one point, and they were looking at the trees and stuff. So they didn't cut them down. Thank God. It's like I thank them for that. And what they did is they just kind of smoothed out. So there was really nothing really wrong with the sidewalk. It was probably raised a tiny bit or something in a couple of areas, or maybe there was a crack or something. But they just smoothed it out. They didn't need to cut down the trees. And we still got them there. I'll probably be posting a picture of the trees. It's like, but I just wanted to kind of tell a story of the trees. But my dad, it's like, and they're carob trees. They're they're a little messy. During the one part during the year, it's like I can't remember what it is. It's like I think it's probably not even fall. It's probably like late spring or summer. They lose some of the carob pods come off, and then the crows. The crows love the trees. By the way, they absolutely love those trees. And all the carob pods and stuff. They're smart birds. The pods will come, they'll actually drop a pod from up at the top of the tree or something, and so that it breaks open on the ground. They're trying to break it open, make it easy for them. Smart birds. So, and it's actually a popular place to go and park in front of our house. It's like because there's not a lot of shade trees have gone away. It's like, and because there's two big trees there, it's like it provides a lot of shade. And so they, it's like people will park there, especially during the summer. People park there. It's one of the favorite spots. And they, it's like all of all of the houses in here. At one time when they first planted the trees and they were at stakes and stuff, I remember distinctly. Most of the houses had two trees or three trees, depending on. I think the corner houses had two trees, one on each side, but they all had trees. But over the years, the homeowners or the city have taken out the trees. So there's just a lot less trees. A lot of the houses, like if you go, there's like long spurts of, like you look down the street and there's like no trees, no city trees on the parkway or anything. And the house next door to us on the west side, it had three carob trees to it, and two of them got cut down, and they've got one left, but it's not in the best of shape. I'm glad it's still there though. It looks fine, as long as it's got plain leaves. And then the city comes by every few years and actually trims our trees, thins it out and stuff, so it's fine and everything. So we love our trees, and hopefully they'll be here for a long time, because we need more trees. One of the things I learned about trees is that in cities, one of the big differences between affluent cities and like ghettos, poor, cities where lower income families live, is trees. Affluent cities, affluent neighborhoods have a lot of trees, and you'll find that ghettos and poorer communities will have very few or no trees. So it's like, and it adds to the beauty of the city, and it's like, I don't know what how it's like, and I think the cities just don't bother replanting trees or taking care of them. One of the things I've been doing in recent years is I keep a couple of cutters on me in my car, and I do something I call tree rescue. And so what I do is I go, and sometimes they leave the stakes on the trees for too long, and they start growing into the tree and stuff, and they start having problems. So if I see a tree that needs its stakes taken away, I make sure it's good and solid and sturdy. I'll go over and cut off the rubber bands if I can. Once in a great while it's on chains for some reason, but it's like usually I can remove it and remove the stakes off the tree, because lots of times the city or the county or whoever's or the homeowners, they just don't take care of the trees. Sometimes it's in parks, it's like, they'll mow the grass and take care of everything else, but it's not real obvious that the stakes need to go away. So anyway, that's a more recent hobby.